video, I'm going to be ranking UFC's top prospects and giving them a ranking based on where I see them potential-wise in the scope of the UFC the next couple of years and beyond that. Quickly though, what is a prospect? Well, someone that's outside the rankings and fairly new to either the sport or the UFC. And so, if you have a number by your name, you're not a prospect anymore. Umar, he had number 11, I believe, next to his name. He was no longer a prospect. Paddy Pimblett, number 15 in the world, no longer a prospect. Just wanted to clear that up. Rankings are champion, someone I see as either someone who can fight for a championship belt or actually win it. Top 5 contender, has a number 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 next to their name. Ranked, have a ranking, but not top 5. Journeyman, Jim Miller basically, or a little bit less than that. And then construction, should probably get a job at a construction site or AKA PFL. So starting off first is Rafael Estevam. You know, he is good. He had a good win over Johnson, and it is flyweight, so I give him ranked, but I actually think there are some guys on here for flyweight that are going to be who are better prospects than him, and I don't see him beating the guys that are top 5 worthy in the flyweight division, but I do think he's ranked especially for the division as weak as that. Like I said, flyweight division, Hyun-Sung Park, this guy is good, I think. You look at his 2 wins in the UFC, both finishes, looked fairly dominant in both of them. I like his skill set, and I definitely see him being a top 5 contender. He is close to champion because of the division, but I'm just going to keep him at top 5 contender for now. Staying in that top 5 contender, Marcus McGee. Big fan, super exciting fighter in the bantamweight division. Like his stand-up, has good power, great finishing potential. He is in the toughest division in the UFC, so I almost wanted to knock him there, but he is top 5 contender. Hot take maybe for some of y'all. If he fought Marlon Vera right now, he'd win easily. I have him as top 5 contender. Gene Silva, champion. Doesn't matter if it's featherweight or lightweight. Dude is great skill set. Fast, crisp striking, good grappling, big power, great chin. Comes out of Fighting Nerd camp. That's great, as we all know. That win over Drew Dober, he could have finished that earlier had he not been playing around trying to do that showboating, and he still dog walked Drew Dober. Yeah, this dude, insane. Then for our next guy, we have is this Matsumoto? Yeah, Matsumoto. Journeyman. Honestly, I actually think he might be out of the UFC fairly soon. Bantamweight division, again, hardest division in the UFC. I think his skills are subpar. I think he's going to end up being a journeyman in that division. Potentially go to a different, like PFL, aka construction. But I'll leave him in journeyman for now. Joe Anderson Brito, top 5 contender. I mean, this dude is dominant. He's vicious. He beats people up. He doesn't fight people. He beats them up. Yeah, I mean, you look at his 3 fights his last 3 fights in the UFC was Jack Shore. That's a good win. I think Jack Shore is actually very good. Pierce and Wilson, all 3 finishes. He's nasty. I like him a lot. I think he'll be a top 5 contender for sure. William Gomez, journeyman. I I don't actually think he is a good fighter. You look at his last fight was against Gamori, I believe, and yeah, he got the like. I mean, you should have beaten that guy within the first round. It shouldn't have taken you 3 rounds to get it done. And then his last two were just ugh. I mean, whatever. I don't think he beats anybody in the top 15. Uh, David Onama. This dude, he don't belong in the UFC. His skill set is just not good enough. Yeah, I think he gets dog walked by most fighters in his division. He's got to be going working at a construction site because he shouldn't be fighting the UFC. I know that. I don't know how to say this guy's first name. I believe it's like Medikbek, but Orlby, this dude is a champion in the making. Likely he'll be fighting Makhachev if it's for a title. It's a good fight. I would love to see it. I need to see more from him. I haven't seen enough, but what I have seen from him is just dominant victories. So, I would once we get to see him against like an actual legit opponent, like Drew Dober or Guram. If he went out there and dominated them, yeah, we haven't seen enough. But I'm still confident enough to say he'll be a champion, or at least fight for it. Then we have Mauricio Rufi, top 5 contender for sure. Chris striking, great KO power, comes out of Fighting Nerds. Yeah, he's going to be a tough. I know it's lightweight, tough division, but I see him providing not only exciting fights but exciting finishes, and he gets a top 5 slot for me, for sure. Ismail Bonfim, journeyman. Don't think he's that good. I mean, yeah, he got a bounce back win against Pichel his last fight, but I'm just not. I'm not seeing it. Honestly, that McKinney KO seems to be not a great. I mean, seemed to be just another win. At first, it was like McKinney is a top guy, but now we've seen he's not, and that win isn't that good. So I see him staying relevant and a guy right on the outside of that ranking spot for the rest of his career. Maybe he could get a number by his name, but it would take a lot of luck, I believe. Then we got his brother Gabriel Bonfim. Yeah, this guy, his last fight against Lusa should have been finished early, and it went to decision. This guy, and then he lost to Nicholas Dalby. I don't see it. I do not see it with him. I don't think he's close to being in the construction zone for me. Let me be honest. So, yeah. Then we have Brian Battle. I am a massive Brian Battle fan. He wins in dominant fashion, and he has great power, Chris striking. And I look at who's in his division. I think he could beat Bilal. I think he could give JDM and Shavkat a run for the money. Would I pick him over them right now? No, probably not. But he gets 2-3 more wins, more experience, and I think people will be singing my tune with me pretty soon. So he's going in champion. Thimba Garimbo. He's put together a nice run in the UFC, and he's strong, got power for the welterweight division. I think he can be ranked. I think if he fought Neil Magny, he'd beat him. I would like to see him versus Jeff Neal. You see some of these guys who are ranked outside the top 5 in that welterweight division. He can definitely compete with them and even win. So he goes into ranked for me, and he's a very marketable fighter that I think the UFC would like to maybe give the preferential matchups towards. So, yeah, he goes into ranked for me. Danny Barlow, journeyman. I think he's going to get fraud checked in his next fight. He has had subpar performances, lack of ability to show his skill, journeyman for sure. Zachary Reese, this guy, let me tell you something. I was ready to put him in ranked. Then he gets fraud checked by Cody Brundage. Now, was it a fluke? 100%. But you lose to Cody Brundage, you cannot be anywhere within ranked. That Cody Brundage is really making me want to put construction, but he is good. So he's going to be a journeyman. I know I could see him maybe going to PFL or somewhere and doing well there, but in the UFC, I just feel like if you get slam TKO'd by Cody Brundage, it's only a matter of time before you get beat up again. So he's going to be journeyman. Before, if he didn't lose to Brundage, he was ranked close to top 5, but yeah. Ibo Aslan, ass, bro. This guy's ass. He's going to a construction zone today if I was the UFC president. He had that fight against Turklaj. Turklaj is ass. And he fought like ass against Turklaj. So, I don't care that he's in the light heavyweight division. He sucks. He is not even close to journeyman, as far as I'm concerned. Mick Parkin, his skill set's okay. He definitely benefits from being in the heavyweight division. And for that, I want to put him in top 5, but I haven't seen him against enough competition, really. So I want to put him ranked for now. But he is close to that top 5, not so much because of his skill set, but because he's in the heavyweight division. Vitor Petrino, ranked. Good striking, great power, great chin. Terrible grappling. And you lost to Anthony Smith. That's embarrassing, especially when Anthony Smith is way out of his prime. But I do see him bouncing back and getting a couple wins, but I don't ever see him being a top 5 contender in that division. Following this, Joe Pyfer, top 5 contender. People will say he got fraud checked by Jack Hermansson. Jack Hermansson's a great fighter. It was a good test for him. He lost the fight 3 rounds to 2. It wasn't like he got his ass whooped. It was close play. And he has that knockout power that can land on anybody. And he has good wrestling defense, good striking, good chin. Work on his cardio a bit, but yeah. Top 5 contender for sure, I think. And I think he'll get a ranked matchup next anyway, so I see him definitely being a top 5 contender in that middleweight division. Cameron Simon, journeyman. I was thinking about ranked, but the fashion in which he got beat by Peyton Talbot, which I'll talk about later, I do think he'll bounce back. I think he'll have a good UFC career, but I don't know if he'll ever actually get that number by his name. He might, but for now, he's got to stay in journeyman for me. I just haven't been impressed with his UFC run so far. I know, and he lost to Rodriguez, weight bully, but yeah, is what it is. Ray Tetsura benefits from being in the flyweight division. I think he'll be ranked, but in his debut back in June, he lackluster to say the least. Not impressive. Looked flat. Only in here because he's in the flyweight division. And once he gets ranked and has to fight other ranked opponents, I think we'll see the quality is very low with him. Nakamura, I think this guy is top 5 contender. I think he can be a top 5 contender in this sport for the bantamweights. He has a great skill set. He has finishing potential. We haven't seen him against any worthy opponents yet, but I think from what we have seen, he can be a top 5 contender And but that may be just pushing my luck, actually. But we'll keep him there. I made up my mind. Robles to Spain, ranked. People say that's crazy. He got his ass beat, fraud checked. Yes, but Cortez Acosta is a good fighter. Like he'll be a ranked fighter pretty soon, probably within his next fight. And then to Spain, he's benefits from being in the heavyweight division for sure, but he can knock out anyone. He has that big reach. I'm sure he'll learn a lot from that, like Ngannou did from that first Stipe fight. Just train grappling. Don't even train striking. You're already better than all of them. So just train grappling and defensively. And I think he'll make up a lot of room and get ranked. Felipe dos Santos, ranked. He lost his debut against Cap in a super close fight, and then came back and won his next one by a split decision. But I think, again, benefiting from the division of it being flyweight, not that many great fighters, but it's on the come up, I think. He can definitely be ranked in that division, and he's an exciting fighter too. So, and we know the UFC loves to keep around their fighters who put on exciting matchups. So he'll be ranked. Michael Morales, top 5 contender. He has that fight coming up against Neil Magny. I think he finishes him within 2. He's dominant. He's good everywhere. I think he's going to put on a clinic against Neil Magny and really raise his stock with the UFC fan base coming up. Raul Rosas Jr., ranked. It's hard to predict him because I think he has so much potential, but you look at him and he doesn't actually look that good. He looks very one-dimensional. Like, you keep it standing, you're just gonna beat him up. But I think he has a ton of room to grow, and I think he can edge his way into a ranked position. So I'm gonna put him in ranked. Aliev, he had a tough first fight against Rafael Alves, but he did win. That is a tough first matchup for your debut. He does fight in the lightweight division, but I think he could be ranked. I mean, you look at some of the guys. I think he could be a Jalen Turner. Maybe that's about it. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the rankings again, but he could definitely beat some of the guys in there, I believe. So I'm gonna give him ranked. I'm not as known on him as I am these other guys, so that's as best as I can give him. Brady Heiston had a great start to UFC, 3-0 in the UFC, I believe. Great finishing potential, but he's in the bantamweight division, so I think he'll get ranked. I think he'll actually, once he gets ranked, he'll lose his positioning really quickly, but I do think he'll be ranked at some point. I think he's better than Cameron Simon. I think he's about the same as where I would put Rosas Jr. So that's where I'm at on Brady Heiston, but he has a great stand-up, great grappling. Yeah, overall impressed by him. Zellhuber, I am not that high on Zellhuber. I think he'll be out of the UFC pretty soon. He's going to get fraud checked and he's going to fall in a spiral and then he'll be out. Not too impressed by him. And you look at the guys he has fought, he's won them, but it hasn't been like anything like, wow. So, go get your hard hat, I guess. Umar Sy, top 5 contender. I think he's going to be good. I think he should get a good veteran outside the top 15 for his next fight, and then fight a ranked contender after he whoops up on him. Like, give him Ryan Spann, I guess. I think he dominates Ryan Spann, and I could see him with more experience potentially being in that championship contender. But as of right now, I'm playing it safe as a top 5 contender. Bo Nickel, champion, big. I used to wrestle, big wrestling fan. Followed him since college. When I heard he was doing MMA, I was like, all he needs is a chin, and he will be a top 5 contender. He did take a shot from Brundage, didn't seem to bother him. Isn't saying much, but he has power. He's working on his striking. He's making quick work of these guys are bums, but they're UFC bums, and he's making quick work of them. So he's got to be champion for me. I think he beats Hamzat right now. I think he beats Whitaker right now. Hot take, I know. But I just think he, maybe not in a 5-round fight, but in a 3-round fight, he definitely beat him. I know that's crazy talk, but mark my words. And then Payne Talbot, this is going to be a hot take for sure. He's not champion level. He is top 5 contender. I think he benefits from being very big and strong for the division. But once he goes up against someone similar size, like Song Yadong, and he's not able to bully them around with his strength and his size, he's going to look human. Because right now he looks alien, like just walking through guys, eating shots like it's nothing. But I'm telling you, once he fights someone who is able to compete with them strength-wise and power-wise, I think he's going to struggle. And I mean, we'll see. I think he beats Yanez. He's calling out Yanez for his next fight. I think he beats him easily, and I think he gets top 5. But I don't see him being champion. I really don't. I know it's a hot take, but that's where I'm at on these prospects. And let me know where I was wrong, or I guess since I'm not ever wrong, this is a perfect list, and you can just let me know how amazing my list is. Yeah.